I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we are breaking down all the goals scored in the FA Cup. I was about to say Premier League then, as I do the Premier League as well. It's Crystal Palace against Aston Villa, and quite frankly, I do appreciate Aston Villa or Crystal Palace, either of them being in the final, as long as it's not like a Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. I think everyone's bored of those finals, and it's great in the FA Cup that we've actually got Crystal Palace in there. Hopefully, Nottingham Forest make it to the final tomorrow, and then we'll have an actual final that we'll want to watch. But going to comment a little bit on this, on throw-ins, because a lot's never really talked about throw-ins and the poor level of throw-ins in the Premier League. I want you to watch the flight of this ball as we play it here. Watch this. Do we see how he's like thrown it and lobbed it in the air and see the flight time in there? It's never really addressed about how important it is to have someone that can actually throw the ball in properly and not just sort of hang the ball up in the air for his teammate there. It's wasted dead seconds, and it really puts your team under pressure just because you're casual on those throw-ins. It doesn't happen in this situation because of the space created, but it's just one of those things that bugs me. And now I've said it, it's going to bug you. You're going to see it more often than not now, people taking poor throw-ins, and you're going to go, well, why don't they practice throw-ins properly? The ball goes out of play an awful lot, and you'd think they'd be able to throw the ball to someone's feet a little bit quicker than that. But let's move it on. This is the old Crystal Palace running in behind and going to get a goal. And to me, this isn't a foul. Contact doesn't mean a foul. Look, you can see his foot is in front there. So if the Villa player hits his foot, the Villa player is kicking him. He's not kicking the Villa player. But look, do you see the contact there? Hardly any, if at all. Contact isn't a foul. The Villa player goes down like he's been shot and gets gets the goal overturned from VAR. Panics. He goes down because he realises he's in a terrible position and he's going to go and score because his body shape is wrong. He's defensively too deep. Well, actually, he's not too deep. He's too high, allowing the run in behind. But that isn't a foul. And the fact, if they start calling things like that as fouls, this game, football has really gone downhill over the last sort of 3 years. It really has. That isn't a foul. You can clearly see the Villa player's kicked his foot and then gone down. Contact's not a foul. Should have been a goal. Not acceptable in my book, but you know what? VAR's ruining the game, as I said it would do, and all pushing towards the Super League. This sort of thing happens a lot in football, where the identifier of where the mistake been made is actually wrong. This is the guy that's made the mistake. You can clearly see that this Aston Villa defender, he's running that way, and the ball is played behind him. Now he has to kind of adjust and try to change his body shape to meet the bad pass that was just forced on him. Right? You see that? Look, now he has to sort of scuff it and clear it instead of using his teammate or using his goalkeeper, and looks like he's made the wrong choice. Well, he's got no other choice because of the way the pass has come to him, and he's also panicked a bit. He's a bit bad. He should have done better. He's hit it first time instead of just turning, playing it to the goalkeeper and relaxing the pressure. I don't know why he's just lumped it and he's hit the player. But it all is initiated by a poor pass that should have been played in front of him to there instead of all behind him to there. So he wouldn't have had to adjust and he would have had more time to take a touch, go over here, play it around, and out they go. Didn't do it though. Everyone will say, oh, this is the mistake when he kicks it into Sarr here. Boof. Oh, I think it's Sarr actually. And he goes off to the races. No, that's the second mistake. The first one, the initial one that you can fix that caused that, was his pass in the first place. And that's not what a lot of people sort of miss, is the initial mistake. They just go straight past that and go on to the one that they can see. Oh, he's kicked it in there. No, it's because of this mistake here. Yeah, but let's move it on a little. I just want to show you how easily Sarr goes past this guy here defending. He's the guy that made the initial bad pass, goes back, tries to recover. Look, and he just goes straight past him. Oh, ref, get out of the way. We're trying to watch him grab onto Sarr. He ends up trying to grab him and pull him back because he just is completely and utterly unaware that this guy can cut inside him and run past him. He's got a little bit too touch tight, and he's also there a little bit too late as well because the extra time. I'll show you. Actually, it's easier just to show you and to explain it. So this is the guy here that Sarr beats, but this is the reason why he beats him. Do you see the centre back here? He needs to track and go with the ball and not ask this guy to come back because he's close enough to keep the pressure on right there. What ends up happening, he runs away, he ends up coming in, which is completely and utterly the wrong thing. He needs to keep pressuring the ball and he needs to cover for him there. Look, he puts his arm up and tells him what to do. You see that? Little waves his hand. And if you didn't know here, in the next 5 seconds, someone's going to score a goal because you're telling somebody else to do a job that you should be doing. And remember, he's full sprint here. So at this point, when he stops, Sar's already got the ball, possession under control, and turns inside of him. That's why he gets beaten. Because just as he made a mistake for his teammate has now made a mistake for him, where he should have come across and stopped that ball. Look, because he's not doing anything. He's not marking anyone. He's just looking at the goalkeeper. Sar does play a great little ball across to Eze here, and this is a quality strike. There's a little bit of spin on it. Yeah, the keeper I don't really think has much of a chance just because of the clear power on this shot bump, and it's bent slightly away from him. So at the point where he hits it, it kind of goes to there, which is really decent strike. Crystal Palace go 1-0 up against the Villa. Now, there is a bit of a problem with Villa as well, and it's one of these subconscious issues that unless you've been there, or you can kind of understand it. So you've just been playing in the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain, who beat Liverpool, and you were in with a game there, and you were close, you could have beaten them and gone through, and you suddenly believe that you're up in this upper echelon, all right? We're as good as all these teams that people have talked to us about for generations because we're in this point of the Champions League and whatever. And it isn't that you've sat down and thought about that and it comes out. It's a subconscious thing. It's that because you're talked about more in the media and everyone's been talking about your Champions League with PSG and how good you've played and all these things, you kind of just rest on your laurels a little bit because you're not in that upper echelon. You're not top 4 every single season. You're there because you work hard, you fight, your tactics are genuinely decent, your substitutes from Unai Emery are good, and all of these little components. And without sort of all of those things and you working hard and getting all those little breaks, you're not quite there. And what does that mean? You're not quite there. You don't have 2 or 3 players that every team in the country wants because they're absolutely dominant. You're there because your team is solid overall. And that means you can get a little bit cocky because you've done a little, and it's not like, oh, you're thinking about it. It is one of the, that's why I said you have to kind of experience it to understand what I'm really talking about. It's one of those unique things where you're doing so well, and you're getting carried away that you're actually better than you really are, and you can just wipe the floor with teams like Fulham or Crystal Palace. But Fulham and Crystal Palace are still decent teams and still can beat you. You have to put the effort in. I do want to show you this quality hold-up play here. This is really good. I think it's Eze again. And the understanding of what's going on. Now, he could quite rightly play this ball and off he goes for a run. But he doesn't do that. What he ends up doing is stopping and just slowing the game down. All right? So allowing his team to come forward and actually support him. Instead of playing that one ball and giving his teammate too much hard work to do, and maybe creating an opportunity, he's smart enough just to relax just a little bit. And because he does, and he plays the ball inside, now he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 players running forward with him when they're going forward. And you can also see how many Aston Villa players, and this is what I talk about, that sort of little bit of laziness, which Villa aren't. That's the point. They're not a team that's lazy. They will get back and defend. And there's no one there to put any pressure or tracking back to slow these players down. So with one more pass, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running at 3 now. They end up whiffing it. It should have been a goal. I'm not going to cover the whiff. That's just embarrassing. But the 5 versus 3, instead of putting the ball through for a 1v maybe 3, this is much better. And that's the difference of slowing the game down only by 4 or 5 seconds. Slowing it down 1, 2, 3, probably about 3 seconds he did it. Better opportunity for his team to attack. Unlike the other foul where that little bit of contact wasn't a foul, this is. You can actually see him there taking out his leg and twisting his body as he goes through him. Yeah, no attempt to play the ball. He's behind the player. It's definitely a penalty. Shocking penalty. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. When you score a good penalty, take the praise. When you have a shocker, take it. Shocker. Yeah. Right now, Crystal Palace should have had at least 2 more goals. Okay, again, this is a problem started by a pass. Look at where he is and look at where he's looking, okay? And he's swinging his foot, almost doing a no-look pass. These passes are so dangerous, especially when you're playing into the middle of the field because it's obvious where you're going. So when you play that pass, you're setting your teammate up just to lose the ball. And that's exactly what happens. I've seen this pass so many times. Like, if you've got a player that does this, just get them off your team. Honestly, get them off your team, because they will cause you more problems and they won't listen to you because they're playing the ball around the corner. It's fine sometimes in the attacking third, but not in your defensive third or in the midfield area, because you'll lose the ball. There's too many players around. And boom, they do. But don't worry. Hold on. We've got a bit of a problem. So I was trying to move the camera to the other side over here and messed everything up so I could show more of the field. Right. As soon as he picks the ball up, watch this defender run away from the ball and run away from the ball. Okay? Let's watch. Run away, run away, run away. They think that the guy behind the ball is going to get there quick enough to make the tackle, instead of just running towards the ball and squeezing the space down. This happens every single day in the Premier League. It amazes me at how poor people are at going to the ball. And when better players start realising this and they can step forward and just get shots off on goal, like this, they're going to score more goals. It's a great shot. All the time in the world, no one's there, boom, takes a touch and smashes it into the bottom corner. Just because the two defenders didn't run in front of him and try to stop him playing the ball or shooting the ball. Wow, unbelievable, Aston Villa, unbelievable. Okay, this to me was more of a foul than the one that was in the first half. Not only that, he's running in from an offside position to go and tackle the ball, right? Bush just pulls the player back. You can see him. He's pulling the player back there, and off he goes to the races. So he's coming from an offside position, and it's probably a foul. It really is. Not like in the first half where the Villa player kicks the Crystal Palace player and the Villa player falls down. That isn't really a foul. Wait, let me make that clear. The first half wasn't really a foul. That definitely was. Sorry, in good old Cash fashion, he wasn't actually playing coming from an offside position, because Villa did have a player too far back, which did open up the space for a simple through ball, and off he goes, running 1v1 with a keeper. Keeper's really got no chance. It's a tidy finish into the bottom corner, and they booked themselves a spot in the final. Who do you think is going to win the final? If Man City's there, I guarantee you it's going to be them. I've seen too many refereeing decisions that maybe are questionable for them. Hopefully it'll be Nottingham Forest, and I'll be there to watch it with you next time on Cash Talks Football.